I don't know which setup I use. I actually kind of forgot. I'll try game window for now. Right, time for something a little more long-winded. Nope, that's the folder. Alright, I need to use the game. No, don't remove it. Transform, reset transform. There you go. Alright. Been a while since I booted up the metaverse. Oh, hello, Yuri. I forgot you're in my background now. Alright, let's continue this. We are very close to the end. I got this. I could... I could have just watched Manly Badass Hero do this. But, I've already started the Let's Play and there's nothing I hate more than an unfinished game or whatever. Right, so let's tackle self-love. Don't be deceived though. This is not the final one. I gotta check the audio. It's fine. Everything's being recorded. Alright, I'm just gonna assume the game audio is being recorded as well, because right now no audio's playing for me to check that. It's only been 1 day since Yuri's letter was delivered to Natsuki, with Monika's help. Because Yuri chose not to attend the club meeting that day, she and Natsuki haven't faced each other since. Although it's only lunchtime, Yuri finds herself anxiously counting down the hours until she will need to face the outcome of her efforts, whether good or bad. And because the passing by of students was making her feel even more anxious, Yuri picked out the most secluded spot she could find to spend her lunch. I should have eaten some skyflakes like I said I would before starting this. Dang it, I really want to. Oh, it will be dinner soon enough by the time I'm done with this, most likely. Because the staircase is under maintenance, no student would have any reason for coming here. It's such a relaxing feeling to have a moment of solitude in the middle of a frantic school day. Yep. Beep! What are you doing here? My throat's a little clogged. I just... Yuri grips her book, with enough force to wrinkle the pages beneath the pressure of her thumbs. Don't do that, come on. Well, what are you doing here? I just came to get a drink from the vending machine. The other one is out of the drink I like. Yuri notices Natsuki fidgeting with a few coins between her fingers. She nods, avoiding eye contact. Natsuki also looks away. Natsuki, also looking away, shuffles over to the vending machine. It's so quiet that every one of her movements seems to reverberate throughout the entire stairwell. Aw man, I missed the fast pace of Yuki's 4P already. After far too long, she finally receives her beverage, which she then fidgets within place of the coins. Blah, 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 blah. It's some kind of iced tea. Instead of leaving right away, Natsuki just stands in place. She glances all around her. It's like way too quiet back here. It's creepy. I mean, that's not what I meant, really. I mean, it's totally cool that it's your thing or whatever. Like, I can see how it suits you, so not because I think you're creepy or I don't mean that either. You know, I'm just gonna stop talking. It seems like a good idea. It's okay. Yeah, no. It's okay. Everything is okay. Yuri finds herself attempting some words of comfort after hearing Natsuki stammer herself into dejection. Seemingly in response, Natsuki approaches the base of the staircase and hesitantly sits herself down near Yuri. Well, I can leave if you want. Yuri shakes her head. Natsuki twists the cap off her drink and takes a sip. You know, I can't... that shouldn't get in the way too much. Alright, this will be quick. I'm gonna go grab a drink. Okay, wow, yikes, that took a bit longer than expected. Because apparently, Mum has misplaced the straws. But I'm back, at last. It took a little longer than usual. I couldn't pause the recording, but I don't want to bother because of time recording purposes. Right, it's not iced tea, but it's mango juice. Zesto. Natsuki twists the cap off her drink and takes a sip. I believe I already said that, but just in case. Despite receiving Yuri's general permission, Natsuki doesn't say anything more. Yuri continues to read, or at least pretends to. And the two just sit there, for a really long time. The tension seems to fade a little bit as time passes. Even without any words, it seems to mean at least something, though it's not clear what that may be. Lunch ends more quickly than expected. Natsuki is the first to stand up with her empty drink bottle. Are you coming today? The club. Yuri nods. I'm sorry for being so awkward. I'm really bad at talking about this stuff. I just can't for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to. Eventually. There's no rush. I promise. I kind of feel like I'm doing the wrong voice for Yuri. I feel like I had a different voice for her, but I forgot and or can't do it right now for some reason. Thanks. It's the next day. Natsuki appears from around the corner and steps up to the vending machine, glancing at Yuri as she does so. Today, she seems to be holding some kind of book as well. Oh, you're here again. Well, I just came here to read this, because there aren't any people around here. Oh, I thought you didn't like how quiet it was. Well, I don't, but there's no people here apart from us. I see. Natsuki sits down. The mood feels much different today than it did yesterday. After yesterday's lunch and the club meeting that followed, Natsuki and Yuri are beginning to feel more relaxed around each other again. Although Yuri's letter is still lingering in the back of Natsuki's mind, she continues to detour around it. Yuri is really anxious about that. But it's okay that I'm here? Yeah, I don't care. I mostly just don't feel like dealing with the crap I get from my friends about it. Especially since, like, they all just assumed I stopped reading manga after I joined the literature club. Not that I'm trying to hide it from them exactly, but I just don't want them to. I just don't want it to come up again now after I've waited so long for this new volume to come out. Literally months at this point. What happened? Did the author go on hiatus or something? Months. Was it a monthly Was it a monthly chapter or something? Also, volume instead of chapter. That's not how mangas do things. Volume releases come after, so Natsuki's kinda wasting her time. Although, I guess it might be cheaper to wait for volume releases sometimes if you're only looking for one specific manga and don't want to bother buying the monthly or weekly shonen or whatever. Why am I talking about this like I'm a freaking expert on manga and buying them? I don't live in Japan, and it's not how the culture around here works when it comes to books and stuff. Also, I don't know if I've already said this, but man, if they talk like that to you about your interests and stuff, you can't really call them friends now, can you? You don't have other friends who are into manga? Surprisingly. Not unless online friends count. And Sayori, but that's different because she's not exactly into it. She just likes it. You know what I mean? Honestly, you're lucky that the books you're into at least just look like books, so you don't have to feel like everyone is constantly judging you by what you're reading. That would be so awful. Honestly, especially since I already hate attention so much. Well, it's a good thing I have thick skin, I guess. By the way, I would totally recommend finding some friends online if you haven't already. If you're like me and have no one to share your hobbies with. Oh, I have online friends. Since middle school, actually. I was especially desperate back then. It's somewhat embarrassing to reminisce about those days. Sometimes I feel like the me from a few years ago would have benefited from a good smack across the face. Yeah, she's probably cringing right now. She remembers some of the old posts she did, where she turned all internet warrior, probably. I can imagine it. Oh, whatever. We were all just stupid kids back then anyway. Some of the fanfics I wrote, thank God I used a pseudonym. No one in their right mind would use would use their real name for a fanfiction account. You think there are real authors out there who actually publish actual books of their own, and they make fan fiction on a different name with a different name? Like maybe you read this one fan fiction and it's like, whoa, this is freaking quality, high levels shit of quality writing. Who is this author? I like to think so. I mean, I'll be a real author, so I'll be a programmer. Never mind. But I liked it at the time. I got a lot of fulfillment out of it. And plus, I can look back and say with confidence that I've become a better person since then. As I like to say, the fact that you can cringe at your past self means that you have improved. which means it's a good thing. So I don't think I would change anything. I wonder if a few years from now we'll think the same thing about our current selves. Definitely. Probably. That doesn't make you uncomfortable? Not at all! Why should it? No, of course not. I don't care what other people think of me, especially someone who doesn't even exist yet. Alright, here. Natsuki raises her hand to her face and forcefully slaps her own cheek. That's me from the future, coming to terms with me, right now. Also, ow, I didn't mean to do it that hard. How do you even do that? To yourself. Yuri doesn't seem to react. But then to Natsuki's surprise, Yuri shyly looks the other way before lifting her arm and doing the same thing to herself, loudly smacking her cheek. She turns red and stares into her lap, but is unable to hide a smile as though it was a really funny joke. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't know you had it in you. I don't even know why I did that. Maybe I thought it would be funny. Sorry, I keep distracting you. You said you were always... You said you were looking forward to reading. But I keep going on about all this nonsense. I'll let you get to your reading. Oh, right. Yeah, I guess I'll do that then. Conversation ends quickly, and Natsuki opens her book. The two read silently for the remainder of the lunch hour. But the whole time, Yuri feels distracted by a twist of regret over having so abruptly forced the end of their conversation. You can do it, I believe in you. You're back. Yeah, I'm here to lay low again. Another day has passed. During lunchtime, Natsuki finds herself having wandered to the stairwell once more. Hey, did you buy that? Natsuki quickly notices a bottle of iced tea on the staircase where she normally sits. Yuri nods, avoiding eye contact. What, like, for me? She didn't know I was coming here today. If I didn't show up? Well, I would have drank it myself, I guess. It was a stupid thing to do. Something irrational. But I can totally relate. Alright, how long's the recording so far? No, it wasn't stupid. I just thought, never mind. What I meant to say is, thank you. And that it's a really nice gesture. It's okay if you don't feel that way. I do! It was the other things that I didn't mean. I swear. Please believe me. Yuri pauses, nods. Talking is hard. I get it wrong a lot too. So I believe you. Natsuki exhales in relief. She then sits down next to Yuri and takes the drink. Knowing Yuri, she was probably overthinking it so much that Natsuki's tepid response filled her with self-doubt. I'll do something nice for you next time. Please, don't feel obligated. I want to. I want to do nice things, Chu. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Here's a rocket launcher. You can thank me after I figure out how to do something nice. I'll do it then too. Natsuki sighs. Nothing. Just reminds me of how I haven't been able to get along with my friends lately. Is that why you've been coming here? Well, no, not exactly. I haven't been avoiding them on purpose or anything. There are just other things I'd rather be doing during lunch lately. I like being around them when we're all just having fun. They also just can't take anything seriously. When does this game canonically take place, in what year? No one makes fun of anyone nowadays for reading manga, I'm pretty sure. We know for sure this takes place. This is in Japan. I don't live in Japan, but I know for sure no one makes fun of anyone for reading manga there anymore, or maybe even ever. I wouldn't know. It's when I don't know, feeling serious. Then their attitudes, just really get on my nerves. I feel like my Natsuki voice has suddenly shifted. Dunno and gotta are apparently not real words. According to Microsoft Word. Like, I always get the red line telling me that those are not words. Which makes enough sense. Because after all, dunno is a shortening. Dunno and gotta are both shortenings. But like, acronyms like IDK and stuff are absolutely fine there. And dunno and gotta, well, gotta is used more often, but dunno is a little bit more rare. But yeah, why doesn't Microsoft consider them a word yet? We use them often on our vocabulary, and they definitely show up in official, published, licensed books and other media. So why? It's only gotten worse ever since I joined the literature club. How come? I don't know. I feel like I used to be really good with just putting up with it, because it would be so stupid to cause drama over a joke I didn't like or something. But I just have a hard time doing that lately. But it's my fault for being overly sensitive. If I have a problem, I'm not gonna demand for everyone around me to change. But, yeah, I know. Monica and Sayori really don't agree with that kind of thing. They're not in my position, so it's easy for them to say that you should just communicate your feelings or whatever. It's not like my friend group does that kind of thing. I would just be making an embarrassment of myself. Sorry, none of this has anything to do with you. I don't know why I'm talking about it. It's okay. I like listening. What? Listening to other people's problems? Yes. That's weird. Sorry. I just like learning about people. Do you think it's weird? No, that's not weird. I probably just misunderstood, so... I don't know. Does that mean I should keep going? If you'd like. Okay. Well, I don't know what to talk about now. What are some things that you like about your friends? A lot of things. I mean, they're really fun to hang out with, like after school and on the weekends. And they really like my baking. And it's fun to complain about school together. They make me laugh a lot, and we have a lot of good memories and inside jokes. Oh, I'm bad at a lot of those things. Well, it's good to finally hear about stuff. They should be reasonable people. I mean, based on how you're talking about them, you should. So why is communicating somehow apparently hard? It's the responsible thing to do. Man, teenagers. So, are those all things that are important to you? Well, kind of, but they're not things I need to get out of everybody. Everyone in the club is really different from that, but I'm still friends with them too. Well, Sayori really likes your baking, and she makes you laugh. And she complains a lot. That doesn't mean she's anything like my other friends. Well, unlike them, she's a nice person who cares about your feelings. Excuse me? I want you don't talk that way about my friends that you don't know anything about. Natsuki stands up. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't want to say something bad. Please don't leave. Natsuki sighs and shakes her head. It's fine. As long as you understand that you can't just judge people like that. I'm sorry. Natsuki sits back down. You can't just compare friends like that and, like, measure who's better than who. Everyone's different. I'm sorry. You really should just talk to them, though. I just don't like people who want to hurt you. Whether they know it or not, intentionally or not. Blah, 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 blah. A moment of silence stretches between them. They don't want to hurt me. We just like to tease each other about stupid things. It's fun. I don't like that. Well, that's why I'm friends with them and you're not. You like it? Implying you like it, yeah? Just don't worry so much about me. It's not worth it. I'm sorry. I wish I knew how to help with social conflicts, like how Monica can. Eh, debatable. She's good at these things. Not really. Also, I don't always want help. Sometimes it's just stuff I have to deal with myself. It's not okay to deal with shit that you're clearly uncomfortable with. A good relationship, even platonic ones, need to start by having people know each other's boundaries. So until people know your boundaries, you can either go one of two ways, I'd think, and I'd prefer the latter I'm about to explain. The former would be to just believe they have no boundaries and just do whatever with them. Touch them, hug them, say curse words with them, use the N word, maybe, I don't know, and talk about all sorts of bullshit. Eventually, they will speak up about the things that they don't like so that you can know not to talk about them in the future, and eventually you become better friends with each other that way and stuff as you learn as you both learn what you want with each other, or if it's more than two people and a friend, which is most likely, then with each others whatevers. That's alright, plural, I don't know it. Or alternatively, you could just assume that they have every boundary and you should never cross them. And the first thing you should ask would be about those said boundaries, so that no one offends each other right off the fucking bat. That's what Monica and Sayori never seem to understand. Sometimes all you do is look at them wrong. They're all like, "Aw, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" Just want to mind my own business sometimes and decide myself if I want to talk about things. The only one who understands that is you. So you really shouldn't be so hard on yourself. You're not as bad as you think. Well, you don't need to reassure me or anything. I mean that. Plus it makes sense that someone who doesn't talk a lot would make a good listener. Thank you. You're also nice. It's really hard for me. It doesn't come naturally at all. It's so weird because I always thought of myself as someone who can just say whatever's on my mind. But I feel like that only works when I'm annoyed or upset, or I want to say something mean. Why am I like that? Why am I like that? You don't have to answer that. That was rhetorical. Gary nods and remains silent. Natsuki notices her fidgeting with the pages of her book. How do you like reading so much? Oh, well, a lot of reasons. But I just get sucked into it so easily. It's so immersive, like I want to be a part of it. I think there are a lot of things about people in real life that make me feel uncomfortable and frustrated. Especially when it comes to following social conventions and group interactions. I just don't really understand it. I have no real desire to participate. But it's different with books. It feels like I always want to be around the characters. I feel such a strong emotional connection with them in ways that I've never felt with real people. So in that way, it can sometimes feel more real than real life. I hate when people say that. Really? Is that hard for you to be around people? Like, all the time? Fairly often. Especially in group settings. When people are making all kinds of conversation and saying jokes and all of that, I don't know what to do and I just disengage. She probably has evasive footwork so no one makes any opportunity attacks on her. And notice that she's trying to slip away and talk to her about it. Oh, that doesn't get lonely? I don't think so. I can still enjoy spending time with people one-on-one. I have online friends too, of course. You ever wish that you could be friends with the characters in those books? All the time. Sometimes so badly that it makes my heart ache. Yeah, me too. Really? A lot. Like more than anything. After Natsuki mutters that, silence fills the stairway once more. But it's a mutual silence. One full of understanding. That's actually how the first act ends. Interesting. Right, we got time. Let's finish this. Dun, 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 dun. I like this song. Hey. Oh, hello. I almost thought you weren't coming today. Yeah, well, lunch is already more than halfway over. Natsuki had typically been meeting Yuri in the stairwell much earlier. It had been a good way of dodging her friend when she didn't feel like seeing them. Today she's holding a large plastic container in both hands. Isn't she technically doing something she technically in character doesn't like doing, which is not being upfront and looking for alternative solutions? You know, like, she's usually the type of girl who's always going, if you want to say something, be upfront about it, and don't try to dodge it by saying other shit. You know, that's why she got mad with Monica initially when she first tried to join the club. Because Monica was very clearly hating, very against Natsuki's whole shtick. But like because she couldn't get upfront about it, Natsuki just freaking gave up and stuff. Today she's holding a large plastic container in both hands. I ran into my friends, so I hung out with them for a while. Is that so? Yeah. I was in a good mood today, so I figured I should. I hadn't seen them in a while, which I had to come up with an excuse for, but I expected that. Plus, I have way more of these than I know what to do with, so I figured I should share. I would share with them too. She sits down. Natsuki opens the lid of her container. Of course, I am a bit of a social recluse. Toryu's the first real friend I've had in a really, really long time. So these philosophies I've had are simply my own philosophies as a recluse. I'm not sure if other people agree with me on this or if they're okay and other people everyone in the world is just like Natsuki and are okay with that. And I'm literally the rare few that are like Yuri. And is a social recluse. But yeah. If I'm gonna try to befriend someone, which is highly unlikely, that is how I'd want to approach the situation. Which, now that I think about it, is very hypocritical. Because I have acted very irresponsibly and what's the correct word for it? Unaware, incredibly blind of people's borders, and not bothering to ask them. But I was young back then and didn't have these beliefs. Okay? I'm different now. And yeah. Both me and Toryu are on good terms, I'm pretty sure, and yeah. It's kinda happened once with Mom. I still remember it very well. You guys didn't know about it, it was never recorded. Don't worry about it. It's all good now. It is normal. People, when good friends fight, it's a good sign, typically, that they know each other and they're willing to fight and reach a compromise, hopefully. If not, then the best case scenario is that they just stop being on good terms with each other. And it doesn't turn into anything further. Anyway, tangent over with. As she sits down, Natsuki opens the lid of her container. You made cupcakes. You know it. It's been a while at this point, so I figured it was about time again. You can take one if you want. Don't mind if I do. Yuri takes the cupcake and carefully twirls it between her fingers. It's brown with dark green frosting, immaculately shaped into a floral pattern, and topped with some kind of glittery powder. How pretty. I just ate, so I may not be able to finish. Are they for the club? Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think about it. I just made them. Ah, I just thought that because green is Monica's favorite color, right? Well, yeah, but that's not really... Yuri takes a small bite. This is green tea flavored. I love green tea. Oh, do you? It was just a random idea I wanted to try, so... Don't laugh at me. I'm not. I just felt happy. Oh, sorry. Usually when... Never mind. What I mean is that I'm glad. Hey, character development! Sorry for saying dumb things again. I just wanted to do something nice. That's how you write character development. And that's what I call payoff. You had everything. The setup, the build-up, and the resolution. This is something I happen to be good at. And I do know that you like them, from past experience. Oh. Yuri turns red, recalling the time she treated herself rather generously to Natsuki's cupcakes. Ironically, her mouth is too full of cupcake for her to stammer an excuse, so she just settles for a disapproving look. How did you get into baking? Oh well, I don't know. It kinda just always appealed to me. Well, a few years ago, I read this one manga with a lot of baking, so I got like super into it for a while. I was probably making stuff almost every day, so... I'm really curious. The side stories are basically almost over. We know for sure this is an alternate universe now. Rather, completely separate from the canon of the main game. Monica doesn't have her epic fourth wall breaking powers. But Sayori still has her depression and stuff. But, Sayori seems like the only one that's still completely the same. Monica, Natsuki, and Yuri seem to all have aspects of themselves that are either being ignored or are outright just straight up not a part of this alternate universe. Yuri doesn't seem to have any self-harming tendencies, and there are some implications, I believe, if I remember correctly, that Natsuki doesn't have all that good of a house life, but it doesn't seem that bad. As it was in the original canon. And it got super worse during Act 2, obviously, because of Monica shenanigans, but... I don't know. I just think it's weird. Depression was easy enough of a topic to handle, but they didn't want to deal with daddy issues and self-harming tendencies. And I guess that's understandable, but uncreative minds, or whatever, I don't know. It's something that I always knew I liked anyway. It's like, baking is like art. When you get good at it, it gets more delicious too. I'm struggling to imagine myself putting my heart into something so artistic, knowing that it would just be eaten afterwards. Yeah, maybe you're too practical for it. I think I prefer to be on the receiving end. That's my other favorite part about it. Something I can do that makes a lot of people happy. Like unconditionally. Technically not unconditionally, because cupcakes is a condition. Everyone is always so thankful, and in that moment you get to be like the bringer of joy. I don't know, it just makes me feel valued. Yeah, that, I guess. So, you were able to make up with your friends today? There wasn't really anything to make up with them about. We weren't fighting or anything. You weren't? Maybe I misunderstood. It only turns into a fight if I lose my cool. That's just unnecessary drama. It only makes things worse. So they're not going to stop? I mean, it only happens sometimes anyway. It's just the way they are. I'm the only one who ever has a problem with it. Just because you're in the minority doesn't immediately mean you're wrong and that this is okay. God. It's not worth it. Especially since I have somewhere to go now when I don't feel like hanging out with them. Oh, I see. Most likely anyway, they'll stop being friends once they finish high school. That's usually how it is with these things. Cupcake's empty foil wrapper audibly crinkles as Yuri punches a fist. I'm glad that the situation is resolved. And you don't have to avoid them anymore. Yeah, me too. I don't have to bother you during your alone time anymore. I'm sure you have a lot of reading to catch up on. Yeah. I know that cupcakes are basically nothing compared to all the stuff you've done for me. But it's the best I can do. So you can have the rest of them. Natsuki grabs the box and slides it over to Yuri's feet. Yuri stares at the box. Then she shakes her head and slides them back. You should save them for your other friends. But I made them for you. Natsuki's voice whines as she protests. I know. I like them very much. Exactly as you thought. You succeeded. But I know you care about making your other friends happy too. And if this is the way you know how to make that happen, then I'm not going to take it away from you. No, they were for making you happy. You make me happy! This guy. You're worth more than the cupcakes. You're worth more than cupcakes to some people. That's why they want to spend time with you and be your friend. Without warning, tears pour from Natsuki's eyes. Oh, I knew there was gonna be a crying scene. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts sobbing into her arms. Natsuki! I'm such a bad person. Oh! Yuri stammers, feeling panicked. I didn't mean to say something bad. Natsuki shakes her head and wipes her eyes. You didn't. I just... Natsuki tries to choke back her sobs but struggles to speak through them. I just really hate myself sometimes. It feels so wrong when you say those nice things to me. I don't deserve it. I'm sorry. No, I am. I'm so difficult. And I can't think of even a single thing about myself that somebody would like. I hated myself for bothering you during lunch. I just thought it was my chance to be a good person and be nice and do the things you wrote about in the letter. I knew if I tried in the club, Sayori and Monica would be super annoying and make a huge deal out of it. You know, I think a lot about these negative things too. Of myself. I never felt like a good person. I'd always scrutinize everything I say and later I feel like I said all the wrong things. And I just spent so much time thinking about myself, hating myself, and feeling like everyone else must hate me too. So I understand some of that through my own experience. And that's why I wanted to write the letter and express my feelings. It pained me to see those things in someone else that I saw in myself. Natsuki sniffles. Yuri rustles through her bag and pulls out some tissues, then hands them to Natsuki. Monica told me that it takes a good person to reflect on these things. The desire to improve yourself, that makes you a good person. So don't worry so much. Also, there are things about you that people would like, so... Like what? Like how you're fun for people to be around. And you're not shy. And you know how to make people laugh. Not to mention, you seem very, what's the word for it? Forgiving, I suppose. And that's a loose term to use, I suppose. You're very passionate about these things and you know how to take the lead. And you care a lot about other people. And just A lot of things. Oh, well, now you're making me feel really embarrassed. Well, you're the one who asked. Don't you think I feel embarrassed? Natsuki tries to hide a smile, then she sighs as it fades again. Every time I come here, I always think it's the last time, but then I keep coming back for some reason. Is that bad? Just really confusing. I mean, my friends and I go way back, so ditching them all the time feels like I don't know. Feels like what? Natsuki's voice gets quiet. Maybe I'm scared that they'll get mad at me. I really don't know what to do. It is an admirable trait, Natsuki, to not force other people to change around you when there's something you don't like, but at the same time that being just very willing and accepting of everything. Like, if you have the power to change something, and you think it's for the bad, and like it's affecting you negatively and you can make it not affect you negatively anymore, then you should definitely by all means do something about it. Obviously, we're all powerless against things like pollution and greenhouse gases and wars. But like, if you're if someone's like doing something or saying something wrong, and it's very easy to just say back that you don't want them saying that anymore, just do it. You need courage. It might seem hard, it might seem unnecessary, it might seem like the wrong thing to do, but it is very much not the wrong thing to do. Them not noticing, them not realizing, them continuing to do it, whether they know it or not, is the wrong thing. And if they're not gonna notice or do something about it, let them know. And tell them to do something about it. And hopefully they'll be willing to cooperate, or at least reach some sort of compromise. Because otherwise, these things can go out of hand if you give them time to boil. Speaking from experience. I really don't know what to do. She pauses. Yuri stares into the distance, tracing her eyes along the patterns of the floor tiles while she thinks to herself. What would you do, hypothetically speaking, if your friends were happy for you, instead of mad at you? Happy for what? Happy that your new club is making you happy. Well, that's just not a fair hypothetical. Natsuki says that, but with little confidence in her voice. I always told myself that I don't rely on the approval of others to be happy. And I still feel that way, but I'm spending time with people who put me down whenever I don't have their approval. That's probably what's making me feel so confused. Because I'm threatened out of the things that should make me feel happy. No matter what, it's like I have to be unhappy to be happy. It's making my head hurt. It must make it really difficult to feel comfortable with yourself. Being made to feel like you're wrong just for being the person you are. It really goes against everything I believe in, doesn't it? Goes against the kind of person I want to be. It's typical for a human to be hypocritical. Irrationality's kind of what our mind's super good at. I'm fed up with this world. I'm fed up with a lot of things. Natsuki presses her palms into her forehead and shakes her head. I know what's best for me. I keep convincing myself out of it. It's so much easier to be comfortably unhappy than it is to do something so scary. It reminds me of that one quote. She's totally just like, the guy, I forgot his name, from Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girls. Like, it's way easier to just stay in line rather than try to stand out and make a big deal out of things. Do what? You know, end it. With them? Natsuki nods. Didn't think you were actively considering that as an option. I wasn't until recently. Just one of those things where, like, it's been a certain way for so long that you just get used to it. Like so much of you has gone into it, so much that it feels like that's just how your life is. Natsuki, that is what we like to call the sunk cost fallacy. Dear God. And throwing it away is like throwing away such a big part of your life. Makes me feel sick to think about. Natsuki sighs. It's just really scary. It's terrifying. What are you scared of? You know, I myself am quite deep into sunk cost fallacies myself. Like, look at me! The reason I'm playing through these extra stages is because I've sunk too deep into it and want to finish them. That's what I said at the start of the goddamn video. The first sentence I ever said is literally sunk cost fallacy. I mean, I am enjoying them, but like, I clearly just want to play Lady in Seoul and write my fanfics and just not care about these anymore. Like, fear of missing out and already having started things, you know. What are you scared of? I don't know. A lot of things. Like being alone. Not having anyone to talk to or hang out with. Not being able to replace what I had with them. And I don't want them to hate me. And I'm scared they'll hurt me for going against them. Physically. Not physically, but... Yuri clenches her fist. Natsuki. What? If anyone ever thinks to cause you harm, I will unleash hell upon them! Natsuki snorts in laughter. Laugh at me? Sorry, I was just... I like that. That's all. Oh. I meant it. I doubt you could unleash much hell, but... I know you did. Natsuki gives Yuri an endearing look. I needed it. As the conversation lapses, Natsuki again slides her box of cupcakes over to Yuri. Just take them, okay? I don't want other people to have them anymore. Are you sure? Natsuki nods. I'm sure. I will then. I'll enjoy them. Natsuki looks away, but a feeling of warmth spreads through her. She holds on to that feeling, knowing it will give her courage. It's not over yet, there's still CG. Yep, I knew it. And you're here first today. And you brought reading material. Natsuki's sitting in her usual spot, this time holding a volume of manga, while her lunch sits beside her. Yuri sits down as well, and opens her own book. It sucks when a good series has to come to an end. It's such a big part of your life. And one day, there's just nothing left. It makes you feel so empty. Unfortunately, I'm about to experience that myself. I'm on the last book of this series. Well, that sucks. But there's also something satisfying about letting a story conclude. I don't know if I'd want it to go on forever. Maybe. There are some things I wish I could. On the other hand, have you ever read something that overstayed its welcome? Yeah, definitely. I can think of at least one thing I've read that got pretty unbearable like halfway through, and the ending really sucked. So it sucks when something good has to end. Also sucks when they just keep inventing more plot until you don't like it anymore. I guess it sucks either way. Well, that's the nature of all things, they come to an end. The two fall silent. They slowly eat while making their way through their respective reading material. Except Natsuki doesn't seem to be touching her food at all. You don't go out during the weekends, right? Excuse me? Like with friends at the mall or downtown or whatever? I'm not a total shut-in, you know. Oh, my bad for making assumptions. Well, I'm sure I go out less often than other people like you and the others in the club. I don't really meet with friends and arbitrarily spend time like that. I'm usually meeting with my board game group. Oh, nice. Board game group? It doesn't matter, it's just more nerdy stuff. Why do you ask anyway? I was just curious. I just realized that I couldn't picture it, so I was just curious. Is that really all there is to it? Yuri looks at Natsuki and realizes that she's shaking. Don't look at me like that. Sorry. Natsuki pulls her knees into her chest and puts her head down. I can't take this. Did I do something? Yuri gets flustered, her mind racing over what she may have said or done. I did. Frick, I kinda lost myself there. Alright. She's saying, alright. I'm so slow-minded. My mind is very slow sometimes. I ended it. I texted them earlier telling them, and then I just blocked them, because I'm so afraid of their responses. And now it feels like I'm dying inside. Oh, that's... I'm sorry. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. Meanwhile, the sound of Natsuki's unusually hard breathing fills the air. And she speaks again, merely above a whisper. Help me. I feel sick. I want to hit my head against things. Please help. I can't take this. You may be having a panic attack. With that realization, Yuri's demeanor suddenly changes. I have experience with this. So I'll help you through it, okay? Natsuki meekly nods to her rapid breath, head still buried in her knees. Yuri slides herself over to Natsuki and sits on the step behind her. Then she puts her hands on Natsuki's shoulders. Can you feel my hands? Natsuki nods, her shaking becomes much more apparent through Yuri's sense of touch. Yuri keeps her voice low and gentle. You're safe right now. You're in a good and safe place, where nothing can hurt you. Natsuki nods once more, although Yuri is only touching Natsuki's shoulders. She can practically feel her racing pulse through the base of her neck. We'll do a breathing exercise together. All you have to do is listen to my breaths. Breathe along with me. Let's breathe in now. Yuri takes a deep, slow breath. Beneath her hands, she feels Natsuki's shoulders rise as Natsuki takes a deep breath of her own, trying to mimic Yuri. They exhale together, although Natsuki's breath shakes on the way out. That's good. Let's keep going. Yuri breathes in once more, and Natsuki joins her. They continue like that for a few more cycles, while Yuri closely monitors. Eventually, Yuri feels Natsuki rest more of her weight onto Yuri's palms. I don't know why I misread eventually as especially. Let's focus on the physical world. All you have to do is focus on the feeling of your breaths, going in and out. Excuse me. And the weight of my hands on your shoulders. You're in a safe and comfortable physical space. Minutes pass in silence. By now the worst of it has passed, but Yuri is determined not to move away until Natsuki prompts her to. Meanwhile, Natsuki has lifted her head off her knees and her breathing has mostly steadied. Then she takes a final deep breath and slowly pulls herself to her feet, causing Yuri to let go. She stretches her arms. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freak out. I don't know what my deal is. You don't have to apologize. This must be enormously stressful for you. Is that going to keep happening? It may, or it may not. We can take measures to help prevent it in the future. But I think it will naturally get better over time. It'll get better faster if you resolve the issue that's causing your stress, if possible. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Sometimes things are just out of our control, in which case, all we can do is try to calm down, I suppose. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Yuri turns away to pick up her open book from the dusty floor which she had hastily set down earlier. She brushes the dust off the cover. I don't think I could have gotten through that alone. You're not alone. Feeling shy again, Yuri speaks into her own lap. From now on, you don't have to do anything alone. As she says that, Yuri tenses up. Rare for her to so openly share her thoughts. But something about Natsuki, of all people, makes it feel so much more natural to do so. Perhaps because, like Yuri, Natsuki is so timid and uncertain of herself. Natsuki does such a good job at hiding it, but it's taken a long time for Yuri to finally realize it. And because of that, Yuri is able to deliver the reassurance that she herself would have wanted, demonstrating that you deserve the love of others. If you can accept that for the first time, then perhaps you can begin the tumultuous journey of learning to love yourself. You really mean that? The image changed immediately, but whatever. I can still turn this into a thumbnail. Damn it, mouse. You're probably gonna regret saying that if you do. How so? Because I'm probably gonna have a lot of free time during the weekends from now on. I knew it. But you're giving me permission to be as annoying as I want and drag you around to a lot of places. I see. But you already said it, so you can't take it back now. Well, I suppose I have no choice but to accept that responsibility then. I know a good ice cream place. Oh? That means you'll finally figure out my favorite ice cream flavor. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, you don't remember? The first day that you came to the club, you guessed everyone's favorite ice cream flavor. But for me, you said you had no idea. Seriously? I don't remember that at all. Oh wait, yes I do. I said it was probably green tea. Yuri shakes her head. It's a good guess, but my favorite is usually to get chocolate and raspberry together. Chocolate and raspberry? How fancy. How is that fancy? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I should have guessed something like that. Well, maybe next time, I'll try chocolate and strawberry. Hey, strawberry's my favorite. What a coincidence. I think it helps to have something to look forward to. I still have the sick feeling in my stomach. But it's easier now to convince myself that I did the right thing. Is there anything better I could be doing? Not that I know of. There's nothing that'll make this easy for me. You already did more than I thought anyone could. Come to think of it, I never talked about that letter you wrote. I feel like we're way past that at this point. I don't even know what to talk about. Except that I think it helped me understand my needs a little bit better. The way I like to be treated. And the kinds of friends that I want to have. That's why I wanted to start coming here in the first place. Even though I was so scared of causing more problems. I thought it was a coincidence that you ran into me here initially. Oh, it never was. Well, not exactly. What do you mean? Nothing. I may have tracked you down first, with the help of Sayori. That's what you said? I was shy, okay? I was ready to whatever. You know what I'm saying. Well, I guess I'm glad that you worked up the courage. Even if it was in your own way. I can tell that you've been making a lot of difficult decisions. It's brave, and it will make things better in the long run. I think anyone would be proud of you for it. Anyone? You mean like you? Yes, like me. You know, I could get you. There's Natsuki talking. I can get used to this. As long as, as long as you don't tease me too much. Fine. Just a little then. That's fine. That's a sign that teasing is supposed to be a sign that you're comfortable with each other. Not just unexpected thing that friends do. It's not that they kiss because they're lovers. It's because they're lovers that they kiss. That was a weird. I don't know why I used such an analogy, but there we go. I know how uncertain everything feels to you right now, but I really do think that good things are in store. Those are my honest feelings. Thanks. I honestly feel like I could have come up with a better thingy for that. Feels nice to be reassured. The two girls continued their conversation through the remainder of lunch. A new feeling hangs in the air, a feeling of greater certainty in their path forward. In just a few hours, there will be another literature club meeting, where the 4 club members will happily spend time together. Each of them all with their own special qualities, have something unique that they can deliver to one another. Through friendship and literature, the club members will continue to grow and find new happiness together. The end of each chapter is the start of the next. Yuri thinks to herself, when she's about to finish her long-running series, it would be best to have a new book lined up. Perhaps this weekend would be a good time to visit the bookstore. Together. It's 6:44. When the heck is lunch coming? So where's the new thing? I'm still missing some stuff, but considering I already played the original, I really don't feel like replaying just to get the other poems and CGs. It's not worth it. And I'm somehow missing CG from the extra story. The first one. Like, how is that even possible? I think the auto save is a little wonky in this game. Early designs for Natsuki? Is Evelyn the first name or the last name? Is David the first name or the last name? How strange. Okay. You know, there are plenty of other scenes like this. I don't know why you guys would have had such a hard time. There's plenty of reference by this point now about the scene, about such a scene. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know, I think there might have been something I wanted to say else, but who really cares? I'm done. Right. Oh, I should check. What? Where's the final one? There's still supposed to be one secret final thing. Where is it? Oh, God.